Here at SMA's production studio, Pumpkin King Jack Skellington production crew has given us an incredible, our own decorated haunted mansion. Great job to the production crew.
Yeah,
indeed. And I think you want to share a little bit of a passage from Tim Burton's book.
Yeah,
That's a way to get our talk started.
We've got his book here, and this is one of my grandchildren's favorite book, Summer in particular. So I'm going to read a little passage to get us rolling here. I'm sick of the scaring, the terror and fright. I'm tired of being something that goes bump in the night. And my feet hurt from dancing those skeleton dances. I don't like graveyards. I need something new. There must be more to life than just yelling. Boo.
Boo. Okay. All right. So that's the wrap for our last segment.
Yeah. And we're gonna, you know what? We need to make sure we give this to John because he's got some young ones that I think.
Indeed. Yeah. So Sarah, let's learn about Tim Burton, who's an excellent entertainer and his own peculiar sense of humor. And I just want to wish you personally seasoned screaming, Sarah. Over to you, Sarah.
Good morning. I've actually never been to Not Scary Farm. It's a little too scary for me, but I do love Disneyland at this time of year. So yes, I'm very excited about the artist this week. We're talking about Tim Burton, film animator, writer, and director that's most known for his macabre gothic fantasy films. Burton was born and raised in Burbank, California. And as a preteen, he would make stop motion animation short films in his backyard. And he wasn't a very good student in school, but he found pleasure in painting, drawing, and watching movies, all of which would later inform his career. After high school, he attended California School for the Arts, or Cal Arts, to study character animation. And there he made a film called Stalk of the Celery Monster, which actually grabbed the attention of Walt Disney Studios and led to a job there after graduating. He helped collaborate and create on many films there, both successes and flops while at Disney, until leaving to make his own films. So Burton directed Beetlejuice in 1988, and it's a supernatural comedy horror about a young couple forced to cope with life after death and the family of pretentious yuppies who invade their treasured New England home. Their teenage daughter, Lydia, played by Winona Ryder, has an obsession with death, which allows her to see the deceased couple living in the attic. It stars Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis as the deceased couple and features Michael Keaton as the obnoxious bioexorcist Beetlejuice, as you can see here. The film grossed $80 million on a relatively low budget, and it won an Academy Award for Best Makeup. And you can see the kind of makeup process up close. And it would later be converted into a cartoon of the same name and has also been adapted into a musical on Broadway. So Burton's ability to produce hits with low budgets impressed studio executives, and he received his first big budget film, Batman, a year later. However, the production was plagued with problems. Burton repeatedly clashed with the film's producers, but the most notable debacle being the casting. Burton chose to cast Michael Keaton as Batman following their previous collaboration with Beetlejuice. And Burton considered it ridiculous to cast this ultra bulked up masculine man as Batman, insisting that Batman should be an ordinary man who dressed up in this elaborate bat costume to frighten criminals. So Burton cast Jack Nicholson as the Joker in a kind of move that helped assuage fans' fears, as well as attracting an older audience that might not be as interested in a superhero film. When it opened in 1989, it became one of the biggest box office hits of all time, grossing over $250 million in the US and $400 million worldwide, and earning critical acclaim for the performances of both Keaton and Nicholson. And the success of the film really helped establish Burton as a profitable director, and it proved to be a huge influence on future superhero films. In 1990, Burton co-wrote with Caroline Thompson and directed Edward Scissorhands, again, reuniting with Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice. And Johnny Depp was a friend of his and a teen idol at the end of the 80s due to his work on the TV series 21 Jump Street. So Burton cast Depp as the title role of Edward, who was this creation of an eccentric and old-fashioned inventor. So Edward looked human, but he was left with scissors in the place of hands due to the untimely death of his inventor. Set in suburbia, the film is largely seen as Burton's autobiography of his childhood in Burbank, actually. Burton's idea for the character of Edward Scissorhands came from a drawing he created in high school. And he stated that this is his most personal and meaningful film because it's a representation of him not being able to communicate effectively with others as a teenager. So we're jumping ahead in time a bit, but Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is an adaptation of the book by the same name by Roald Dahl, starring Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, Freddie Highmore as Charlie Bucket, and Deep Roy as the Oompa Loompas. And the film generally took a more faithful approach to the source material than compared to the 1971 adaptation Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was later nominated for the Academy Award for Best Costume Design, and the film made over $207 million domestically. In 2010, Burton worked with Disney again and did a version of Alice in Wonderland. And the story is set 13 years after Lewis Carroll's original story. But it's still taking place in the kind of Victorian-esque era. It features Mia Wasikowska as Alice, Johnny Depp, again, he loves Johnny Depp, as the Mad Hatter, and Helena Bonham Carter as the Red Queen, and many notable others. Alice in Wonderland is live action and also animated. So it combines the two. And it's about 19-year-old Alice Kingsley, who is told that she can restore the White Queen to her throne with the help of the Mad Hatter. She's the only one who can slay the Jabberwocky, which is this dragon-like creature that is controlled by the Red Queen and terrorizes Underland's inhabitants. And it was praised for its really unique visual style and generated over $1 billion in ticket sales, making it the fifth highest grossing film of all time during its theatrical run. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is maybe slightly lesser known of his films. It was released in 2016 and focuses on a home for children with special powers. You can see the movie poster in the bottom left corner of the girl with fire, the girl that's floating, the girl with super strength over here. So it stars Eva Green, Asa Butterfield, and Samuel L. Jackson. And Green plays, this is Eva Green, she plays Miss Peregrine, the caretaker of the peculiar children, and protects the children from these hunters that want their special powers. And so she protects them by keeping them in this time loop of September 3rd, 1943, so that they don't age. So now on to some of his animated films, which he's so famous for. This is The Corpse Bride. And I actually watched this a couple of weeks ago with my roommate for Halloween. But this story so it's stop motion animation, which he's so well known for. And it follows a man named Victor about to go through with an arranged marriage. And just before the ceremony, he becomes overwhelmed and has to leave the town and takes a walk through the forest to reconsider. So he's practicing his vows in the forest and places the ring on a branch, which actually turns out to be the ring finger of a dead bride determined to find love again. So Victor descends into the underworld with her and struggles to leave his family behind while also meeting many interesting characters below the ground. So this is what Jacques and AJ, the song, the intro song, this is what they were referring to. So this is The Nightmare Before Christmas, again, a stop motion animation film made in 1993, was conceived and produced by Burton, but directed by Henry Selick, who was a collaborator of his on multiple projects. And it tells the story of Jack Skellington, the king of Halloween Town. And he stumbles upon Christmas Town and becomes obsessed with celebrating the holiday, goes so far to kidnap Santa Claus in order to take over Christmas. Danny Elfman, who did many of the scores for Tim Burton's films, wrote the songs and the score for this one, and also provided the singing voice of Jack. The story actually originated from a poem that Burton wrote while working at Disney in the 80s. And once he was ready to fully develop the idea into a feature-length film, he again struck a deal with Disney, and they actually released it under their distribution label Touchstone Pictures, because they believed, releasing it under Disney, just the idea in general would be too dark and scary for kids. Frankenweenie is a black and white stop motion animation film from 2012, but is actually a remake of a live action short film of the same name that Burton did while he was still at Disney in 1984. And that film was actually the last film he made before getting fired at Disney because they felt like he was using too many of the company resources on a film that would be too scary for kids. So we can kind of see this ongoing theme between Burton and Disney throughout time. So in the film, a boy named Victor Frankenstein uses the power of electricity to resurrect his dead bull terrier, Sparky, but is then blackmailed by his peers into revealing how they can reanimate their own deceased pets and other creatures, resulting in mayhem. So the tongue-in-cheek film contains numerous references and parodies related to the book, to the past version of the past film version, and other literary classics, and also making references to other films which Burton has directed. So overall, Burton is one of the most unique filmmakers of our time, creating a really specific style and tone that's gone on to inspire many others. And has, as well, he's one of the only commercially successful animators that still uses stop motion animation, which really shows it's remarkable and shows his dedication to the characters and the stories on a really visual level. He's won numerous awards, including Academy Awards, Emmys, Golden Globes, and BAFTAs. And as you can see, he's the perfect artist to highlight for Halloween. So maybe you can watch one of his movies this weekend. Thanks, everyone.
Indeed. Hey, Sarah, really inspired. Thank you for that presentation on Tim Burton. I think I am going to try to catch one of his movies this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I do want to give a big shout out to you, Sarah. You've been so fabulous. And, with our
Thank
art
you.
talks, folks may not also know, Sarah actually was the main supporting actor in the film that was previewed last night, Never Better. And so big shout out to you, Sarah.
Awesome.
Thank you. That's really nice.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, it is very
Thanks,
exciting.
guys. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah, so we can't wait to see it, and happy Halloween to you.
Yes.